These audio adventures are supported by writers, narrators, and listeners like you. Without your help, these stories can't be produced. If these stories feed your imagination, please consider helping me, Joshua David Ling, feed my family by visiting joshuadavidling.com/support and becoming a monthly contributor. Or you can tip me on Cash App, $ Joshua David Ling. If you'd like to have your audiobook or audio play featured here on Audio Adventures, get in contact with me at joshuadavidling.com. Today's episode is sponsored by the following.
Hello, I'm Sarah Levesque, Editor-in-Chief of Logo Sophia magazine. I would like to invite you to explore our Pilgrim's Journal of Life, Love, and Literature, both in visual format and in podcast format. Our goal is to help bridge the gaps between different Christian denominations and traditions. Please visit our website at logosophiamag.com to read or listen to stories, articles, poetry, and more, all for free. We look forward to journeying with you.
After the fall of man, the powers of the days of creation were awakened, and a new magical race was made out of them, known as the Fae. These Fae lived on the 7 worlds in peace and harmony, ruled by the 7 elders and the Elder King. Those 7 worlds were brought into full flower by the life of Thaina. But it would quickly fall due to the rebellion of the dragons and the sin of man. Now, the faithful are gone and the faithless are divided, but the redeemed wait for the day the voice is heard. This is Legacy of Crowns. The Life of Thaina, Chapter 1, The Petition of Altarani. This is the beginning of the life of Thaina. In the time of the elder reign, in the days of peace, a little girl named Altarani, who was about 11 years old, played on the beaches of Thaituro. While she was playing, a strong desire to talk to fish and birds came upon her. Even at her young age, she knew this wish was silly, so she tried to keep it in as long as she could. But her desire would not cease to grow. One day, while she was walking with her parents, she happened to come across the 5th elder, Vivthaya. When Altarani saw her, her desire welled up within her, and she could hold it in no longer. So she ran up to the woman and said, "Ancient Mother, I need to ask you something. I was playing on the beaches of Thaituro when suddenly I desired to talk to birds and fishes there, and for them to talk back to me, like friends. I know my desire is a little strange, and I tried to hold it in, but I just can't. I need to do this." Then the 5th elder turned to the girl with a smile. "I also find it strange, and a little surprising. Nobody has asked such a thing of me or any of the elders with such sincerity. But all is well, though I cannot do this alone." Then she spoke to Altarani's parents, who were nearby, and said, "I would bring this to the Elder King and ask him if this is possible, but it would be better if you and your daughter went with me." Her parents agreed to go with the 5th elder, and Altarani thanked the 5th elder and her parents for going with her. Viv, the 2nd elder, also went with them because he was the husband of Vivthaya and was also pleased by Altarani's petition. They all went to seek out Heza, the Elder King, and his prophet, who was always by his side, giving him true counsel. So Altarani walked with the 2 elders and her parents until they found the Elder King, Heza. When they found him, Viv and Vivthaya bowed before Heza, and Vivthaya said, "Your Majesty, this little girl has come to me with a strange and joyful petition that I would be happy to grant, but which I alone cannot fulfill. Please hear her." Heza bowed his head and said, "I will hear her." Then he spoke to Altarani and said, "What is your wish?" "I would like to make friends with fish and birds like I am with fae and dragons." Altarani replied. Hazel laughed when he heard this and said, I also would be glad to grant your petition if it is possible. Joyful and strange indeed, but it is a strange joy. Haza then turned to his prophet, the first Fae, and asked, Is it possible to do this thing? The Fae, Heika, stared almost blankly for a moment, and then a smile came across his face. What other place can new life begin except in water? And how can it live unless it breathes? This is a good thing, but I must also help. Then Haza turned to Altarani and said, I also wish for this to be the case. However, you cannot make every fish or bird your friend. As such, an allowance on my part would be unwise. Instead, you may choose one kind of fish and one kind of bird. All the members of that kind will be as the Fae, though their bodies will remain the same. And you can make friends with as many as you like. When you have made your choice, Vivthaya and our prophet Heika will be able to do this for you. Upon hearing this, Altarani rejoiced and thanked the entire council for this gift. As the news of this petition spread, the 7 worlds of the Fae and dragons hung upon the news of her choice, wondering what would be added to their fellowship. Altarani finally chose a small fish with silver scales and a small bird with golden plumage that became white as it neared the head, asking that their entire kind would be like the Fae and dragons. Then Vivthaya changed their bodies so that they may converse with Fae while also causing them to retain their outward appearance as much as possible. She also increased their physical capacities to prepare them for their new life. After this, Heika gave them the gift of life like that of men, Fae, and dragons. Finally, Viv adopted the entire race as his children, and the children of his wife, Vivthaya, until Altarani came of age, and they were given the world of Thaitoro to dwell in forever. When the story of this petition and the fishlings and birdlings that sprang from it became well known among the 7 worlds, the Fae and the dragons decided that the name of Altarani was not sufficient to describe the greatness of this child, so they called her Thaina, which means Mother of 5, and this was her name ever after. She was, from that day on, the greatest of all the Fae, save for the 7 elders, their king, and the prophet. Furthermore, during the greatest feasts of the 7 worlds, she would even sit at the elder table. Thank you everyone for listening. Special thanks to Aaron Reed for letting us use the first chapter of Legacy of Crowns. And if you'd like to support more wonderful stories like this, you can go to joshuadavidling.com/support to support audio adventures. And Aaron Reed will be working on publishing and website stuff very soon, so I'll keep you abreast of that in the show notes and description. Thank you all for listening, and keep adventuring.